It's as clean as what came out of there.
No.
Well, what came out of there is as clean as that.
You know what that sounds like?
No, Matthew, what does that sound like? Why don't you tell us?
Like you're pouring oil in a jug.
That's exactly what it sounds like. Bro.
What's happening?
Oh, fudge.
She's got some gas, huh?
Stinky.
That's my hair.
You look pretty handsome. Ready?
You gonna hit me?
What is up, guys? Mr. Driver Ryan and I are here today, and we are waking up our BMW turds from their winter slumbers. And part of that is doing a little bit of oil maintenance before we really go out and give them a good thrashing. So we're gonna kind of just show you what we do before we winterize stuff. These cars have been parked in climate control storage all winter. Even though the oil in them was not that old before we parked them, they've been sitting for a good 6 months.
About 6 months, yeah.
I typically don't like to leave oil in a car for more than 6 months if I don't hit the mileage, which I never hit the mileage anymore, so it's more of a time thing for me.
Yeah, a year usually comes first before
Yep.
the mileage.
So a couple of things that we want to talk about is the BMW rod bearing issues. So both of these engines, I have an S54, which is the 3.2 liter inline six that revs to 8,000. Ryan has the S65 V8, which was a 4 liter V8, revs to 85, 86.
85 with the tune I have on it, yep.
So they're very high revving engines. BMW spec their bearing clearances for 10W60 oil, which is very thick. And it really just, I've done a great deal of research about this because it was one of the things that I was apprehensive about, like getting into ownership for one of these. And Ryan, the same thing. But because the oil is so thick on the colder startups, these cars need extra generous warm-up time before, one, revving them high, two, applying load. So my car, especially being an iron block, a big giant iron block, which takes longer to get up to temp, this car is actually equipped with an oil temperature gauge, not a water temperature gauge. And just for it to get to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit takes a fair amount of time. So I've been extra ginger with the warm-ups on this. I usually actually let this car sit in idle for a good couple minutes before I even start driving it. And I don't really do that with most of my cars, like anywhere from like 30 seconds to a minute if it's like a higher revving engine. But it's really important to bring the oil up to proper temperature so it can really get into those bearing clearances. Because otherwise what happens is if you apply load, and when I say apply load, I'm saying like give the car like a good amount of gas at like a lower RPM. A lot of people don't think that that's like straining the motor, but
yeah, it's very strenuous.
When you open the throttle body, or in these cases throttle bodies, up to the max, allowing the max amount of air into that engine, that combustion is just as powerful as if it is, you know, other than it doesn't have the momentum of the RPM. So the engine actually has to work harder because it's allowing max combustion without any momentum on the engine. So you're really, like, they call that lugging the motor, really straining the motor. As like a rule of thumb on any performance engine, I really try not to floor it under like 3,000 RPM. I like to have it a little bit of momentum on it, but it's also revving it too high. They'll limit the revs on these when they're cold, but like you shouldn't even be like getting to the point where the cold rev limiters are like kicking in, because you're most likely gonna get premature bearing wear when you do that. The temperatures are just not up there enough for that oil to get in there and properly fill those clearances for your bearings. So it's I really think that's just been the critical part. I test the oil on this every year. And I haven't had any abnormal wear metals or anything that's indicating that the bearings are wearing prematurely. But if you go online, there are tons of documented cases for both of these engines, as well as the S85
Yes.
Z10,
Yep,
which is
the M5.
which is basically his motor with an extra 2 cylinders on it. So
Essentially, yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna be sticking. I switched over to Redline 10W60 for these because the a lot of Blackstone analysis that I've seen with them, they seem to come back pretty good. BMW killed the original Castrol TWS blend that was created for these, but Ryan picked up new what's it called?
Castrol Ed Supercar Titanium 10W60. So this is their new lineup that they recommend.
So I'm really interested to see how this oil performs. At the end of the season, we're gonna do a Blackstone analysis on his car to see how this holds up. I mean, ultimately, I think all these oils are more premium oils. I don't think that they're bad by any means. I really think that the key to preserving these engines is just giving them that proper warm up and not putting load on them prematurely. So let's break into doing what we do, buddy.
Earl changes.
Earl changes. Ryan's car's up first.
All right, so before we begin on the E90, I want to go over the oil change kit and what tools you're going to need for the job. So, I got this oil change kit from ECS Tuning. Comes with 9 quarts of oil, an oil filter, gaskets, and crush washers, and I got 2 new drain plugs too, which is also in the kit. So the tools you're gonna need: torque wrench, a 36 millimeter socket to get the oil filter housing off, a 6 millimeter hex drive for the drain plug bolts, nice clean funnel, and maybe a pick or something to get these gaskets off of the housing. Let's get started. All right, before we put the car up on the lift, let's get the oil cap off and unscrew the oil filter housing. This is where the 36 millimeter socket comes into play. I'm gonna loosen it first. And it may start to get messy, so let's get some shop towels down in there. Oh yes. Our old oil filter. Yep, see, this is where it gets messy. So since I don't have a turkey baster on hand, I'm gonna put some shop towels in the housing and try to soak up as much of the old oil as I can. I don't want any more old oil in there when I put the fresh stuff in. So put some towels in there, soak it up, and we'll lift the car up. So on the E90, E92, E93 series, BMW M3s, there are 2 drain plug bolts. This is where you need the 6 millimeter hex head to get in there and take it off. So start with the rear first, and then the front second.
Bro, this thing doesn't only have 1 drain plug. It's got 2.
Dos aquis.
Dos. All right, what are we doing?
All right, putting the new ones back in.
With some new crush washers.
Brand spanking new.
And so many wear items on BMW. What is the deal? Why does that bolt look, man? Is that a new bolt?
It's yeah, comes in the ECS kit.
They give you a new bolt every
Oh,
time?
yes,
Get out of
everything.
here.
You don't have to use it, but
Why
Might as well.
BMW should be the king of consumables.
So these bolts, ladies and gents, should be torqued to 18 foot-pounds or 25 newton meters. It's
Not much.
Not too much.
Yeah, definitely can strip.
Yeah. All right. Got them started. Get our torque wrench and torque it down.
Oh,
Oh,
watch out.
excuse me.
Oh, excuse me. Ooh, bro, what's it
Perfect.
like? What's it like having 2 drain plugs and being better than everybody?
It's a pain in the butt. That's
Oh, I just hit my head on your tire. Your M juice is beating me up. It doesn't like me talking smack.
It hits back.
All right, buddy, what do you got?
New filter.
Ooh, it looks like a roll of toilet paper.
It does.
Is that symbolic?
It's not for your hiney.
Oh, fudge.
So I just replaced these two O-rings. There's a little one.
A little one?
A very little one goes right here on the tip. Use your little pick to get it out. Something like this.
Little pick?
If you don't have a pick, probably a tiny flathead screwdriver will get it out. And the other one is right here. It's probably hard to see on camera because everything's black nut.
Yes.
But
that's this big guy right here.
that's the big guy right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So many gaskets.
So many gaskets. Drain plugs.
You're looking awfully
There's
buff there, buddy.
too much
Whoa,
everything.
Whoa,
Whoa, whoa,
you been
put
going
those
to-
away, put
Bro,
those
you been
away.
going to the gym or something? Swole Nation here. Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why in the hell does BMW do this? It makes a goddamn mess every time you change the oil.
I don't know.
BMW. Haven't you heard of regular old oil filters? What the French? Just penal trait.
Just penetrate it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, there it goes.
Ooh.
Oh.
It's the German precision there, buddy.
Oh, yes. There it goes.
Ooh. Hey, you know what I think we should do?
What?
I think we should take this cover off so we could just hear ITVs.
You think? So just like the drain plugs, this is 18 foot-pounds too.
18.
18. Sounds like a duck. Alright, torque wrench. Oh, it's a 3/8.
I would just hand snug that thing up and call it a day.
This is German engineering.
Bro, I don't measure that. I don't torque wrench my cappy on my M juice.
No?
No, I'm a cowboy.
This is my first time though.
It's your first rodeo with your M juice? I'll tell you what, man. BMW, they really shimmied this thing in here, shoehorned it. There ain't room for anything. I do love these bulgy fenders though. That are very nice. You need a lip.
100% need a lip.
This thing's missing a little. Here, while you're mucking with the torque wrench, I'll show my lip. My bumper's weird, but this lip like really works well. It just kind of adds just a little bit of flair. Oh yes. Are we dialed in yet for 18 foot-pounds?
No, I need an adapter. I need a 3/8 to have an adapter.
Just do it by hand.
No.
Bro! Oh, what are you doing now?
Calibrating exactly.
You're cowboying up here and doing it by hand? Oh, there you go. Okay, that looks like 18.
Does it?
I don't know. Yeah, I just saw your bicep
Felt
bulging
pretty
a little.
good.
It's not going anywhere. You got gaskets in there, bro.
Yeah. It's good.
Go take your tampons up. Your tampoon.
Everything's all nice and tidy still.
Mmm. I think you need carbon fiber airbox too. We should both get carbon airboxes.
Man, that's another $3,000 you're looking
Oh
at.
yeah, dude. BMW tax.
I don't know if I'm ready for this lifestyle. Okay, time to fill her up.
Fill her up, B.
Ooh. Fill.
It's not maple syrup, kids. Don't drink that.
Oh, yes. One BMW is done. I'm gonna let it idle outside, come up to temp, and we're gonna recheck the oil levels. Now this one's up.
Oh boy.
Oh yes.
All right, so now we are gonna change it on my World War II engined iron block turd. I stock up on Redline 10W60. I buy it by the 5 gallon. I use a Mahle filter and gaskets. And because this is a giant ass thingamajibber, I use this to transfer oil into here and then from here into the motor, just because it's a little bit easier.
How many liters does this one take?
5.5 liters, and I think I put about 6 in there to get it up to the F mark.
Measure
On the dipstick. Here's a whopping 300 miles on this oil.
I'm gonna stand back.
Did you redline this engine with that oil in there?
Of course I redlined this engine, just like I redlined your mom.
Who's that?
Oh, see?
Look at
Look at that shit.
that's like brand new oil.
How much to lick that?
I'll do it for 20 bucks.
20 bucks, bro? You're gonna get cancer.
Nah.
What's wrong with
Do I
you?
have to swallow it?
No.
He's a spitter, yeah, he'll just spit it out.
It smells fuely.
It does.
Smell my fingers.
I can smell it from here.
Bro, smell my fingers. This thing like stinks on its cold warm up. It's like rich as all the time. All right, I think we drained this thing enough. I'm getting impatient here. It's okay. This oil's like brand new.
I know.
I'm scared. This doesn't feel happy.
Get the helicoil.
Oh, keep going. All right, so oil filter's in this thing. You gotta take the TPS sensor plug off to get at it. Yeah, I mean, if we all go upstairs and tag team this shit, like.
That's not for the viewers.
So there's a big long wiener bolt in here. It's gonna have oil and all sorts of other jam on it. Cover off. We have a gasket on the outside here, a little wiener gasket here, and then there's a crush gasket washer on the bottom here. And those are what we're gonna change right now. Hook her, take her off. It's not a donut, kids, don't eat it. Ooh, got it. And then this guy.
Oh, okay.
There we go. And the new one. So exciting. And this guy. New gasket, oil her up. Bam. Now here's the part that I despise the most with these cars. Taking this mess out, because it just makes a mess everywhere. Why, BMW? Why? Why couldn't you just put a normal oil filter here? I just don't get it. New filter. And I like to put a little oil in there. No.
Well, what came out of there just as that?
You know what that sounds like?
No, Matthew, what does that sound like? Why don't you tell us?
Like you're pouring oil in a jug.
That's exactly what it sounds like. Ready? So I give this a little sip. I pour it on the filter. Oh yeah. Ooh. And a little in there. Oh. All right. So then we take our atrocious looking rare material metal cap, put that back on. Our big long penile bolt. I'm sure there's a torque spec, but I'm not gonna read it. There we go. GQM spec, torque spec, and our TPS sensor back in. Now we fill her up with oil.
This is riveting stuff. Sounds like a hyena or something.
I was thinking a weak ass choo-choo train.
Choo-choo too. This is why I got paid big bucks.
Mr. Lightman, you handle Lisa.
I do.
How many quarts does it take?
I don't know, quarts. This
Oh,
is liters, you
liters.
silly
Ah.
Englishman. That's good. And juice nation. Ooh, here's another good point. So now we're gonna start it. I deleted my clutch override in this. You can loop 2 wires underneath the clutch pedal, but the caveat is the car thinks that the clutch is held in all the time, so if you try to roll backwards on a hill in neutral, it holds the car. But It's a small compromise to not kill your thrust washers, especially in a car that I don't drive very often. Shut up. And then it's got this penis thing on it. And every time you take it out, it like sprays oil everywhere. So here we go, right up to the second notch where I like it. Full of jam. Save the rod bearings.
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
Done.
Done! M-Juice is ready for the road.